seems ultimately troubled. Like
He is.
haunted.
I just think he's done dealing with like all the stuff, all the seizures. He's done dealing with all these things that are going on. He's lived out his life as long as possible, and he wants to experience a family. He wants to experience being one with everyone again. And he's like, okay, I get to experience that. And I know something bad is going to happen because I can foresee things and also jump in people's minds and mind read and all that stuff, and then control objects or whatever. But like, I just think he's just done. I just think he's done and over it, and he just needs to move on. And he wants to move on in the way he wants to.
One thing...
Even though it's really irresponsible and really shitty.
One thing I I guess since Patrick Stewart is now done, I mean, there's still Xavier, but Patrick Stewart is done. One thing that's always, in every X-Men movie, Xavier is one of the most powerful mutants of all time. I mean, he can control everybody in a whole square mile or quarter mile, whatever. I mean, he can freeze everybody. And they called him in this movie. They said he's like a nuclear bomb in his brain. Like he's the most
bomb.
No, yeah, they're afraid of him. He's the most powerful thing. But in any of the movies, other than like freezing a cafeteria, he never really has done anything absolutely ultrally amazing with that power.
I just think he
You know?
can't control it now. It's
Well,
like,
in this movie, yeah. But I'm just saying, in all the movies when he was younger, when he was older, whatever, like, he was one of the reasons why Apocalypse never came to be in the comic books, and he was very powerful. But in these movies, like, he never got to show it off. And I know he always kind of pushes for, like, modesty and controlling, but when there was a villain, why did he never really, like, just get him?
just
You know
crush
what I
him
mean?
because he could.
I mean, it wouldn't make for great movies, but he never did anything absolutely amazing. In any of the movies.
Because you want to play, like, everybody needs to play their part, you know? So you can't, like, discount, like, Cyclops or anything else that's playing as the role inside a superhero movie.
Can't
see without these glasses.
So I want to talk a little bit about the relationship between Charles Xavier and Logan. So I agree with what you guys are saying. Maybe it was selfish of Charles Xavier to want to go to that house and experience that family, on his way out. But I think, like, the theme of this movie was the way that Charles Xavier and Logan were carrying each other through the final act of their lives, in more ways than one. So, like, literally, Logan is carrying Charles Xavier and putting him in bed and making sure he gets his meds. He's putting him on the toilet so he can take a piss, and he's caring for this man, this old man, like he's his father. And I think vice versa, like, Charles Xavier is giving one last shot at showing Logan what real life is like.
The importance of life.
The importance of life. And he's teaching
family.
one final lesson to Logan.
Yeah.
He's saying, hey, this is what your life can be with X-23. I mean, with Laura.
Yeah.
He's saying, like, you need to be a father, and, like, she is your daughter, and regardless of whether or not, like, Charles Xavier's not stupid. I mean, regardless of if this is the same Xavier we've seen in the first few movies or not, he's not stupid. And he's saying, like, look, I know that this place isn't real. I know that this place that we're trying to get Laura to is, from coordinates in a comic book.
Yeah.
But it's important to her, and that's why you need to get her there. You need to
she's
help
your
her
daughter.
get there.
Yeah.
Right.
Raising her.
You're raising her. And so I think this was like a handoff, like a way to say, hey, I raised you, Wolverine. Now you need to go raise Laura. And
Return the favor, yeah.
Exactly. And I think, like, it was almost poetic that the clone of Wolverine was the one who was responsible. The clone of Wolverine's younger self was the one who was responsible for killing Charles Xavier, ultimately. Like, I think there was so much substance to this movie that I am honestly convinced that somebody's coming out of this movie with an Academy Award.
For sure.
I honestly believe that. I really do. I think Hugh Jackman's got a shot at Best Actor for this. Yeah, I know, because I don't think anybody was expecting it. I think the studio was saying, okay, you got a superhero movie that's going to be really dramatic. Cool, we'll put it at the beginning of the year right after the Oscars because you're not winning shit for this. Yeah. But I think this movie surprised people. I think this movie is going to surprise the Academy. I think Hugh Jackman's got a shot at Best Actor. There was one scene in particular that I thought was phenomenal by Hugh Jackman, and I teared up. It was the scene where he's burying Xavier, and he's burying him, and it's like in this marsh, and he buries him, and he looks around, and you can tell, like, what he wants to say. What he wants to say is, this is a good place to bury him. There's water here, and he always liked water. The only words that, like, he can, like, get out is, like, well, there's water. And he starts to cry, and he takes a second. He takes, like, a long beat, and he goes, there's water.
And the cutscene to Laura holding Logan's hand, trying to hold his hand, but
that is literally to me like the scene where it says, "Okay, now I'm the father." Now Wolverine has to become,
and he's
Logan
scared
has to become
shitless, and he's so scared
exactly
because he doesn't know what to do. That's probably his biggest fear, though, over anything else. Losing his basically father figure, and now he has to step up and man up and be a father. And he doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't know how to deal with that. You can just tell how he just throws her hand to the side and walks off because he's like upset because Xavier's no longer here, but also upset like, fuck, now I have to figure out how to raise a child and raise her. What do I do? I don't even know. Now I can't ask him. He's gone.
I think my favorite part of the movie was Laura herself. I honestly, when she was doing her thing, she was funny because she's crazy. And her fight scenes were amazing, and they really used her size, and it was just so cool to see a rated R movie with I don't know how old she is.
She's probably 12 or 13.
12-year-old running around. She throws a person's head, and they're all, like, when she's walking to him, and they're all like, stop.
They're, like, terrified.
Terrified of this little girl. She's just eating her cereal. And they're, like, going in, they're like, hey, Laura. And she's just, these are my cornflakes. You better get the fuck out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You better back the fuck off my cornflakes.
I think she was awesome. Am I the only one that would like love to see a movie, like another spin-off of the X-Men franchise that follows these new mutants?
Oh, totally,
that's
dude.
what they're going.
I think that would be awesome.
What about her toe claws? Those are insane.
Yeah, I like the explanation of them too. From
like
Xavier.
a lion,
a
lioness.
That was neat.
Yeah,
I think I thought that was my favorite part. Was her. Hands down, my favorite part. Can I ask you guys, what is this your guys' favorite X-Men movie?
This is by far my
one
favorite
of my favorite. I have, like I said, I haven't seen First Class or Apocalypse, but out of the
what
Fox
about
ones,
Days of Future Past?
I have not seen that one either.
No.
So all the Fox ones, this is probably honestly this is my favorite.
I liked more X-Men movies than I disliked. There's a couple that I really hated. X3 was awful. The Wolverine was awful. But like X-Men 2 was great. First Class was great. Days of Future Past was great. I liked Apocalypse just fine. Not as good as those other ones. But this, I think this even transcends that. I am willing to say that this is one of my favorite superhero movies that I've ever seen, and I was not expecting to say that today.
I liked X2 better. I really did.
You did?
I really did like X. I think
X2 is great.
is my favorite of all of them. I think this is definitely up there. I think Wolverine Origins was bad. The Wolverine, the one with Deadpool.
I never saw the Wolverine. I heard the Wolverine was okay.
The Wolverine was
terrible, and
it's terrible.
He loses his claws, his adamantium claws, and I'm like, well,
wait, are you talking about the X-Men, the Wolverine Origins one, or the one that was set in Japan?
The one in Japan.
I never saw that one.
That one's awful. Okay. I guess I don't like to say that movies are bad. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
and I didn't like Wolverine Origins. I didn't like Wolverine.
I didn't like that movie either.
All the other X-Men movies I liked. It's just those three that I didn't like. And I thought X2 is by far my favorite. This one is definitely up there.
My favorite, like, on-screen banter, like in the X-Men series, is Cyclops and Wolverine. On-screen banter.
Yeah,
like
from the first.
Go back and forth,
yeah.
That's my favorite one from the first one. Is just the dealing with Logan and Cyclops.
I don't know. I really liked Laura. I liked her even when she started talking, because most of the movie she doesn't. And then, and how, like, you can see the rage that she had. The one thing that kind of confused me a little bit is they raise these kids to be soldiers, and they show the video from the phone of them doing all these, like, trials and doing
how did she get all this footage?
What I mean? But then when they're running in the jungle or in the woods, like, I felt like they should have put up way more of a fight. And I'm like, dude, you just train these kids. I know they're young, but you see how good. Obviously, they've all had training because you see how good Laura is. The rest of them have to be pretty comparable as themselves.
Maybe it's a side of just fear, fear that like you have these powers, but you just like you don't want to kill anymore. You've been trained all your life that you have to kill. You need to kill. You need to do all these things to harm and listen to others. And they're like, no, I just want to get away. They just want to break free and not be like surrounded by that anymore. They don't want to do that anymore unless they have to.
I thought it was funny how Stryker's son, the doctor, dies. He just
loved it.
Yeah, it just.
I think that's what
dies
the movie
immediately, and it's just like
so great.
Shot him right in the head.
I love it when like bad, like you're like, this is the guy that's causing all these problems. We hate this guy with a passion, and he doesn't get the light of day to have an awesome death. He is just struck down like pathetically like he's a piece of shit.
Because that's an awesome death.
It's
that's
an
awesome death.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's just like, hey, it's stepping on his grave, spitting on his grave.
It brings a level of realism though by that, because it's like, I'm tired of dealing with this character. He's a giant asshole. His dad created all this shit.
We hate him so much. He's got to die now.
Yeah, he needs to die as fast as possible and move on to the better fights that are going to happen.
I loved how he was going into that exposition, and it was going to be like, I'm the bad guy. This was my plan, and this is what I did.
Boom!
And then he just gets
You
shot
did.
in the head. Like, that was so fantastic.
But dude, just the fight scenes in general and how close they got to detail of like him stabbing people in the head and stuff. That stuff blew my fucking mind.
Everybody was frozen in the hotel.
Yes, he's just stabbing the wall, getting closer and closer and closer, and the guy's looking at him while he's frozen by Xavier. He's just fucking frozen, looking at him like, oh my god, this guy's gonna fucking kill me. And then he stabs him right in the fucking head. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrifying.
In the other movies, you can see him going wild on people, but the camera cuts right before you see blood splatter or anything like that.
Or they have body armor, so it goes through the body, and it's not. It's like, hey, they stab him in the chest, but it's body armor, so there's nothing there.
This dynamic of just... You see where the claws insert and they exit, and it's just like so unreal, because it's like, damn, I have waited for this for fucking ever. From Deadpool now to this, fucking superhero movies, please carry this tradition on by making
Nightwing,
yourself rated
R,
fucking R.
And like, look,
Please.
I don't even know, like, I don't think every superhero movie deserves to be rated R, but the characters that need an R rating need to get them. Wolverine has always deserved an R rating. Deadpool has always deserved an R rating. I don't think you need to make a Superman movie rated R. I think that that should be for kids and adults the same way.
But Batman
movie rated R would be amazing. Oh my god, that would be awesome.
But it doesn't have to be. That's one I think it's on.
That's either way, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess
make a Nightwing movie rated R. That'd be
saying.
Sweet.
Nightwing rated R.
When I hear rated R, I don't just hear like F-bombs and stuff being dropped. I just see a level of realism of how precious life is and how fast life can be taken away from you from like a claw from Wolverine. It brings you like, holy shit, like I've never seen that, and like now I see that. Now I really don't want to even fuck with Wolverine at all, even though I might have thought about it a little bit. So it brings that level of realism of like, okay, that claw would really, really destroy me.
And I liked the like sort of meta additional nod that they threw in with the other bad guy. I can't think of his name. The guy with the gold tooth and the mechanical arm.
Yeah, that guy.
I liked that he kind of knew the X-Men. Like he was a fanboy. Like he was like a bad like version of a fanboy where he's like, "You're Wolverine. That's pretty cool."
He's like, "I'm not after you."
He's like, "Are you Charles Xavier?" Like he's like, "That's so cool."
Like he followed comics or something.
The fact that he was such a bad guy, though, was kind of like this meta nod to saying, like, Wolverine and Logan and maybe Hugh Jackman are just kind of done with these movies in general. Not like a F you to fanboys, but like acknowledging that, like, maybe I'm done with...
It's time to pass the torch and move on.
Yeah. So here's my final question on this. Do you think they will pass the torch? Do you think... I mean, it's inevitable, right, that Wolverine gets taken up, the mantle gets taken up by another actor one day.
I don't. Is there going to be a reboot of Wolverine movies? I hope not, because I
think there's got to be eventually.
There might be, but it has to be completely different than what it is now. It has to be more true to the comic than and him wearing spandex and stuff. Like I don't know. To me, it has to do that, or it's just going to be weird seeing someone else play what Hugh Jackman has set the standard for.
I think it's just going to be Laura. I mean, you're not going to see another Wolverine unless it's a reboot 10 years from now, 5 to 10 years from now. They're doing reboots crazy. But,
like old school X-Men 80s style.
But like the next Wolverine is Laura either as her age now, as a young adult or an adult. Or
I think a young adult would be sweet, honestly.
If you guys could cast somebody to play Wolverine.
A new Wolverine?
A new Wolverine. Who would you cast?
Ben Affleck. He can do everything.
I love Ben Affleck.
But no, he can be... I just feel like he can do everything. I love him.
Dang.
Another... He's just got to be somebody like rough and...
I kind of feel like this might be a cop-out answer, but have you guys seen The Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Liam Hemsworth? I feel like
he's got to get like fucking jacked though.
I think he can get jacked. He's the younger brother of
just
Chris
the one
Hemsworth.
That's engaged to Miley Cyrus.
I think at one point, yeah.
Say that
No, I think they're back.
Which one?
I think they're back
I
together.
didn't know we were going to be talking about Miley Cyrus on the Logan SpoilerCast.
You never know.
He was one of the characters in the Hunger Games movies.
I don't know, man.
Tall, dark, and handsome guy.
Was he the guy that swims underwater, kind of like the
No
spear guy?
Nope.
Strike two.
Strike two.
I don't know. That's a tough thing because I think Logan kind of. You got to think of somebody, who's like a hairy dude.
Who's the guy in the newest Leo DiCaprio movie? Who's the guy? Who's the
Tom Hardy?
yes.
Ooh.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy
That's
can do
good.
anything.